everybody. I'm so excited today for OLAS 5, which is our journey to explore and activate the Earth's own crystalline grid. And as I mentioned to you, this subject for me is an endless source of fascination and inspiration. You know that I wrote my first book called The Ultimate Guide to Chakras, which if you don't have, you might consider, especially if this is an interesting subject to you, energy and chakras and the flow of energy and Kundalini. You'll certainly learn a lot more there than we'll talk about today, just by virtue of the amount of time that we have. But this is going to be a really interesting session, a really powerful meditation, and a tool that you can use, because once you really learn how to plug in to the Earth's crystalline matrix, that becomes a power source for you. This is your backup battery. This is your way of connecting to some of the richest energy available to us, truly. I mean, and not just of the crystals themselves, but of the major vortex points on our planet. You're going to learn a bit about where those are and what they represent. And so one thing you should know is there's a lot of differing opinions about where the Earth's chakra points lie. And so I'm going to show you the map that my team and I created. Because there is some disagreement. For example, a lot of people believe that the third eye is actually the Himalayan ridge, and we'll talk about that. I don't disagree, by the way, with any of the opinions. We just had to kind of choose one and go with it for the purposes of making a gift for you. But I'll tell you, in my experience, when there's disagreement in spiritual wisdom, it's usually because everybody's right, even if it's conflicting information. It's so 3D for us to think that there's one answer to every question. It's because we were raised taking tests where there is one answer to every question, right? And so anyway, this is your map. And we're going to be talking today about vortices and ley lines and how energy moves through and across and along our planet, and why that matters to you, because you are riding that grid. Maybe not as consciously as you should be, but after we're done today, I think you're going to have something of a new orientation to the energy on our planet. So let's dive right in. And I will say, I'm going to be showing you my favorite kinds of crystals to enter the grid with. And these are actually coming up. Not on the roadmap yet, not on your in your daily offerings yet, but ahead of you on the road. These are skeletal celestial generators. And so when those come up, you're going to see that they're referred to as portal generators, and that's because they're really good for accessing the grid. You may have other generators in your collection that have portals, by the way. Here is a beautiful chlorite phantom portal on a quartz generator. These are just pieces in my collection that I use when I'm doing meditations like this. This is an inner child generator from when I had them for you a couple of months ago. I kept one for myself, and so if you have your inner child generator, if you have another kind of phantom generator with a portal, then you can for sure work with what you have. I like working with generators to enter the grid. I like the fact that they have a flat base, right, which sort of supports a broad surface area of energy, and then that little doorway is for me, I'm a very visual person, right, so I like to be able to kind of see where I'm going. It's sort of like when you do shamanic journey work and you enter the lower realm through a tree. You're looking for a little fairy door. You're looking for your little portal entrance. And so I love it when crystals sort of come preloaded with a with a portal. It just makes it easier. Okay. So let's talk about how energy flows in general, but in particular around our planet. Energy vortices are what we're talking about today. These major points on our planet where there is a coagulation of energy, where energy has gathered and reached something of a peak. Okay. Think of these as fountains. That's another way to think of the major vortex locations. There are only 7 chakra points on the planet, but there are many more vortex points than that. For example, a lot of people don't consider Sedona to be one of these chakra points. Shasta is, but they don't. Most people don't consider Sedona to be one of the chakra points. It is, however, a massive vortex of energy. On our map, we don't have the Hawaiian Islands as one of the chakra points. Some people do include them, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But again, major vortex points. And some people say that Kauai is the only vortex in the Hawaiian island chain, but I would beg to differ. I think each of the Hawaiian islands has a vortex point on it. And I think if you ask residents, they would agree. There may be an energetic hierarchy across the island chain. Some people say that Kauai and the Big Island have the strongest vibration, followed by Maui and then Oahu and so forth down the chain. But Oahu is my favorite island. And so having been married on Maui and traveled to the other islands, I don't know that I feel that that's necessarily true. So part of this is just the resonance that it holds for certain people is different, right? And so I would really encourage you, first of all, to travel. Travel is something I really enjoy. My moon is in Sagittarius, so you can hardly keep me down. If my passport gets dusty, there's something wrong. So I love to travel, and I'm blessed to be able to travel. But if you're not a traveler, I would really encourage you to plan a bucket list trip. And maybe include Peru, or include Hawaii, or include Australia, or include California, Shasta, or Sedona in Arizona. Include one of these major vortex points in your travel. And maybe even make just a sojourn to one of those points. You won't regret it. It could actually be fundamentally life-changing for you. And what's really cool too is when you go to a vortex location, you don't have to do anything. Just being there is enough. You'll pick up enough of the vibration just from the presence. Okay, so energy vortex points are portals that hold high resonance, high energetic frequency. Okay, and that's why you feel different when you're there. Some people say the sound of their voice changes a little bit, or the way they breathe, right? Their heart rate can be affected in vortex locations. Each one has what's known as a master resonance. And a master resonance is a specific frequency that's associated with particular places on Earth. And that's why it feels different in certain places. You go to places and you just think, God, it's so different here. Well, it is different. Every place on Earth has a resonance, but the vortex locations have what we call a master resonance. It's a higher frequency. So light travels differently, energy moves differently, it's much more powerful. Each vortex point on Earth has underneath it what's known as a guardian crystal. And, you know, in my meditation and what I've been shown and what I've channeled, in all of those places there is a quartz crystal under them that I have been shown to be the master crystal, or the guardian crystal, or some people call them the gatekeeper crystals. I've always been shown that it's a major quartz point underneath the Earth. And then in a lot of those places, what's cool is people have intuitively put quartz points on top of those locations. And so there's almost this there's this tower of light that begins within the Earth where those vortex points are, and then has been extended by the beautiful souls who've thought to put major quartz points on those places. And it's really interesting that there's a temple in Kauai where the largest quartz point in the world sits in that temple in Kauai. And it was actually mined in Arkansas. And so I think it's so cool to know that sitting over one vortex point in the Hawaiian island chain is actually the largest quartz point in the world. And I love the idea that maybe right underneath it, you know what I mean, is another quartz point that was placed there energetically with intention by whoever of us, you know, were involved in that original process of creating these sacred spaces within. Okay, vortex points spin like chakras, and they rotate the energy, the frequency of each place. They rotate it out toward the next chakra that picks it, or toward the next vortex that picks it up and continues the spinning. And if you look at, you know, a map of the Earth, the vortex points are connected by what are known as ley lines. Some people call them dragon lines, ley lines of energy. And when you spread those out, it's like a star map. It's vortex to ley line to vortex to ley line to vortex to ley line, and it goes up, down, across, and it basically creates a flower of life pattern around our planet. And so that is the fingerprint of creation. Those are the hot button points all around our planet, and they're connected by ley lines. So each one of those vortex points is spinning, and so it's spinning energy toward the next, and so it creates this accumulation of energy. It also, when you think of the spinning motion around and around and around and across that flower of life, it creates a snake, right? And so that's the origin of Kundalini energy, is actually energy that is raised through the Earth's own crystalline grid. And so when you meditate or, engage in yoga or any of your sacred practices that raise Kundalini energy, you are pulling that snaking of energy up through the earth. And that's why using crystals is a really powerful way to conduct Kundalini energy, because crystals are the keepers of Kundalini. It originates within the earth at the points of these vortices. And so when you connect in, that's why it's always, Kundalini energy is this snake that sort of sits dormant at the base of your spine, right? Because it's connected to the earth's crystalline matrix through your lower chakras. And then you can pull that energy up, and it spirals up and it spirals down. And, you and I have done Kundalini meditation before. And if you missed it, it's back on YouTube, back from 3-4 years ago now. But it's there, and so that's a really powerful energy to use. And, it's too bad because some people see Kundalini as being synonymous with sex, and it's really not. Kundalini energy is Shakti energy. It's the powerful force of feminine creation, and that's important for you on every level. It impacts your health, it impacts your appearance, it impacts, the way you feel, your level of joy and happiness. And so it's really important to work with Kundalini. Sex obviously is a powerful way to activate it, but that's not the only way. And it doesn't just have to be used for sexual gratification. Okay, let me see what else I wanted to tell you about this. And that energy that really is, most profoundly felt at the vortex points, but certainly anywhere in the world you can tap into the Earth's crystalline matrix and sense the energy of the space beneath you. That is the energy that activates the human energetic field. That's the energy that potentiates your DNA and unlocks codes. And we've talked about this for a long time. There are codes for healing. There are codes for transformation. There are codes for alignment, codes for happiness, codes for prosperity. And so, are you starting to see how it's all connected? In really powerful ways. I mean, it's not just the Earth's crystalline matrix isn't just sitting there doing nothing. It's powering up our entire planet in terms of energy and frequency, and it has everything to do with your healing, but it also has everything to do with your energy level and your level of satisfaction and your prosperity. And that's why I'm always saying it's all related and it's all frequency. If you're vibing high, everything's probably going well. If you're vibing low, everything's probably not. And so it's not like sensitive people are usually either everything's, up here or everything's down here. But very rarely do we have these like on off, you know what I mean? Because energy is all connected. Okay, so what I want you to think about is that there's the Earth's crystalline grid, and I like to think of that as a crescent moon that sort of sits beneath us, right? It's across and underneath every continent, every body of water, all the way across our planet. And then that crystalline matrix connects above us to what's called the light matrix, or the star matrix, right? And so as above, so below. The level of intensity of power that sits beneath your feet mirrors the level of the intensity of the power that sits above your head. So if you tend to think of the star gates and the star people, star nations and the star beings and the upper dimensions as being so powerful, but then there's nothing going down below, that actually can't be true by virtue of the Hermetic principles. If that's really powerful up there, what's going on down there has to be just as powerful, which is why, we can't, the Christian cosmology of hell beneath you and heaven above you, perhaps, right? But it's like, what's above you, if what's above you is pure light, what's below you can't be necessarily pure darkness, right? Nothing is just one or just the other. So it's a really interesting, it forces you to really call into question some of your beliefs that are rooted in traditions, that are rooted in a dichotomy, a constant, unending, completely almost false dichotomy, right? We always have to have the balance of both. Okay. The highest frequency of any of the stone people on Earth is thought to be diamond. I'm showing you my diamond. That's my wedding ring. Second highest after that is thought to be Herkimer diamond, and that's because Herkimer diamond is thought to be the clearest, highest frequency, best quality quartz on the planet. And then after that, any other clear, highly translucent, perfectly clear quartz, right, would have among the highest frequencies on the planet. And then it loses its power as it goes clear, right? So this is one of the tools I'm going to be using today to activate the grid. And so working with quartz is really powerful. Whatever kind of wand you have, I'm a wand-aholic, so I have quite a few, but whatever wand you have, any wand you have is going to be good for activating today. And so we are going to do a meditation together, and then and through that meditation, I'm going to be raising some questions to pose to you that I think will help you really consider the extent to which maybe you've been ignoring this powerful, powerful, powerful power source that sits beneath your feet. And again, it's this dormant potential that wants to be activated, that's ready to be activated. And your crystal, whatever crystal you're working with, whether it's one from your set, as of course you have your entire set that we're going to use to actually physically grid, and then we're going to connect it energetically. Every single one of those crystals came from this matrix, came from this grid. So it's ready to teach you all about it. You know, if you're ready to listen, those crystals are ready to teach. And then, of course, we have our Activate perfume. Ginger, rosemary, and ylang ylang. So I'm going to be anointing with this. And then your Activate candle, which we will burn as we do the physical gridding part of our work today. So I hope you're excited. Okay, so I am going to smudge just a little and open a circle to get us started. It's always good before any, serious meditation or any kind of spiritual work, just to make sure you've cleared the palette. Just got done with our sabbatical retreat, and so I have used up all my fire. That's really funny. I may not have fire to smudge with you today. Fire, fire, fire. That's really funny. We burned a lot of stuff. Third time's a charm. That's how you know you got really powerful people in the building, is when you go through all your fire sources. All right. And then just take a moment, releasing any distractions, anything that feels stuck in you, right? Any energy that needs to be moved. Just creating space. That's really what smudging does. It creates space between you and your emotions, between you and other people's energy, between you and any distractions, right? It's very centering, very calming and soothing. So it does all of those things, which we love. I have a shelf full of ash. I'm going to have to go take that out to my garden soon. I think I've told you enough times now that it's like the best fertilizer because it's so full of nutrients. So if you have ash in your abalone shell, don't don't trash your ash. Always save it for your plants. They really appreciate it. Okay. And then I'm going to anoint with Activate. Activate energizes the upper and lower chakras. Ginger always does the trick for me. So a little bit at my third eye for what I know, a bit at my wrist for what I do, and then a little bit at my ankles for where I go. All right. So I'm going to open a quick circle, calling in the guardians of the four sacred gateways today to be with us as we connect really deeply and intentionally with the earth herself. Gaia, we approach you today with such gratitude and such reverence for your beauty and for the crystal kingdom, which nourishes us, teaches us, supports us, provides for us, activates us, aligns us, protects us, heals us. So Gaia, we're so grateful for all of your beauties and the many ways in which you open yourself to share them with us, especially those of us who are called to be keepers of your sacred tools. We're so grateful. And so, guardians of the Eastern Gateway, today we come before you and we seek to enter into new relationship with our tools and our allies today. We're really looking for a new way to interact with our crystal allies, all of the minerals within Gaia herself. And so we welcome this new opportunity, this new way of connecting with energy, this new appreciation for our tools. We welcome you into the circle. Guardians of the South, so many of the vortex points on Earth are southern gateways. And so we approach your vortices with honor and with reverence. We give thanks for the energy of fire as it relates to crystals. The crystals inspire us by their ability to withstand incredible heat and these tests that they have to go through to purify and refine themselves. And we ourselves find ourselves being purified by fire sometimes. And so we give thanks to the fire elementals and welcome you into the circle today. Guardians of the West. Again, the West, so full of beautiful vortex points around our planet, especially supported by and fed by Gaia's waterways. And so we give thanks to the Guardians of the West. We welcome you into the circle. And then Guardians of the North, the tree people, the stone people are from the North. And so it's really your enchanted realm that we enter today, again, with gratitude, with reverence, so thankful for the wisdom of the crystals, the energies, the frequencies that they allow us to run through our bodies in a healthy, good way, keep us strong. So we thank you and we welcome you into the circle. And again, yes, many vortex locations in the north, right? I mean, you do think about places like the Himalayan ridge, right? And China and Tibet and just the incredible majesty, truly, of our planet itself. In fact, as you turn your gaze south and east and west and north, you really have to stop and appreciate the absolute pure beauty. When we talk about beauty as an energy stream, Gaia created that. She has the keenest eye for beauty of any of us, right? And so all you have to do is look at your own planet to really appreciate that. Okay, so I think that was pretty much what I wanted to tell you from my notes. So now we move into the meditation. Okay. So I'm going to light my Activate candle. I want to encourage you to do the same. When you light your candle, you invoke element fire, which is a smoke signal to the universe that magic has begun, has always been that in ceremony. There's always been a torch or a candle or some kind of flame to represent really the invoking of the space, the activating of the space. And so it's sort of like double activation power when you have a candle called Activate, because you're already activating with the fire element anyway. So our candle is lit. Okay, so we are going to work clockwise across our grid, starting with the root chakra and heading toward the solar plexus. Okay, so we're going to work in this fashion because all good magical work happens in a clockwise direction. You're opening a container of energy. And so when you look at the planet itself, there is an alignment across. It does go from root to sacral to solar and then back up to heart and then to throat and then to crown. And so it really does have this wave, almost like a kundalini snake when you think about it. When you imagine it 3D and going around, there really is a coiling of energy as you go from the root to the sacral to the solar plexus and then back to the heart and the throat and the third eye. Especially if you imagine that the Tibetan or the Himalayan ridge would be the third eye, then you really do see the coiling and the winding of the snake. It's very interesting. So let's begin. We're going to begin by entering the earth itself through your crystalline portal. If you don't have a portal stone, I want you to take a good look at mine, because this right here is where you have one option to enter here. You can also just close your eyes and ask to be guided in through one of Gaia's own portals. But I'm going to start my journey here because I think it's really cool to enter the matrix through the matrix, through one of the tools that's actually there. So I want you to close your eyes And I want you to imagine your body turning into liquid light, starting from the top of your head, the crystalline light that really is who you are, because you are a hologram having a human experience in a physical container, right? But you really are liquid light. So I want you to imagine liquefying into that light, starting at your crown chakra, and just moving down, spinning, liquefying you into that beautiful holographic light that you truly are, allowing your body to become effortlessly light, just moving, spinning, rotating with ease. Down, 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 until right where your toes are is also just liquid light. And as you turn into this liquid flow of light, I want you to imagine being able to just move so easily through the floor, down through the layers of soil and rock and bone and time, and down into Gaia's crystalline caves. And I want you to imagine that the portal on the front of your stone is carrying you down and through. You're just moving through these layers. Again, because it's so easy for you to pass. Once you transfer yourself to liquid light, it's so easy for you to move from one dimension to another. Just kind of forgetting about your body for now, letting it be. It's there. You'll be able to find it when you're done. Just let yourself liquefy and sort of move into the channels now, almost like water, just moving, pouring, nothing resisting you. You either move around or it moves around you. Everything's just opening to you. And once you're down in to Gaia's caverns, you're down into her matrix, you're down in with the crystals. In fact, you are becoming the crystals, right, as you move. Once you're there, now it's a maze, and you can move and go, as many souls do, just floating from one part of the maze to the other part of the maze, and from this part of the maze over to that part of the maze. And what's interesting is once you get into her matrix, you don't know where you are. Are you close to Peru? Are you in North America? Are you in Egypt? Only the energies tell, right? What are the signposts in the matrix, right? And one of the ways, at least in my meditation, and we'll see if this happens for you today, one of the ways that you will know where you are is by the color of the crystals that you see, because they grow at certain latitude and longitude points, right, in alignment with the energies of the continents that are above them. And so you can start to go, oh, this is interesting. Look at this over here. There's so much amethyst, and then come to find out that you're underneath Uruguay and Brazil, right? And so you're over here, and then all of a sudden you start to move and you start to see more. All of a sudden you're seeing more, crystals in sort of the turquoise shades, right? And you're like, oh, this must be chrysocolla. I think I might be heading toward Peru. Ooh, there's pyrite and blue opals, right? And so now you're moving into those watery crystals of Peru. So once you're in the channel, you start to be guided by the crystals themselves, which is a fascinating experience. Okay, so we're going to go back down into the matrix in just a second. But I actually want you to take a look at your map first, because before we go fully back into it, I want you to have a sense of where we're going. So I want you to take your Tibetan quartz, and I want you to place it over Mount Shasta, which is right up here in Northern California, United States. And I just want you to take a moment to notice where that is on your map, so that as you move from place to place, you can sort of anchor yourself, like, okay, that's in North America. What's close to it that's familiar to you, right? What's your connection? I live in California, but maybe you're on the East Coast, or maybe you're in Canada, or maybe you're in Mexico. So where are you in relationship to that? Then I want you to take your imperial topaz, and I want you to place it over the sacral chakra, which is Lake Titicaca in Peru. And so it's a downward movement, right? To go from the root to the sacral, right? Not the same as the flow in your body, but keep in mind that the chakras, the vortex points across the earth, energy comes up usually, okay? But at the chakra points, energy goes down. So the way we move across the map would actually be counter to the way the energy flows in your own body system, because when you're talking about the chakras of the planet, that's an inverse fountain, right? That's the fountain. Instead of water coming up and out, it's going in and down. Okay, and that's how energy flows differently across the planet. Then I want you to take your citrine over to Uluru in Australia, Ayers Rock, and so now you've moved down, right? Now you're going to move back up to Glastonbury, which is the heart chakra of the planet. Now some people say that Maui is the heart chakra. I should also tell you that some people say that Shasta is the crown and not the root. So like I said, I think everything is, however you think of it, is accurate. We just kind of had to choose one narrative and go with it. And this is more what I've seen in my visualizations, and so I chose to focus the way that you see it here. You take your turquoise now and put it over Giza, which is the throat chakra of the planet. Then you're going to take your azurite and you're going to put it on top where it says third eye, keeping in mind I and many people think that the Himalayas, the Himalayan ridge, is the third eye of the planet, because that's where you have the best chance of having really intense visions, at least in most of our experiences. And then you're going to take your charoite and you're going to place that over Mount Kailash, which is in Tibet. Kailash, and you'll see different spellings and different pronunciations, but that is in Tibet. So truthfully, what I would tell you is third eye is somewhere in here. So like I said, it's down and then up and around like a snake, right? Sort of moving in that way. But you can also place your third eye at the top. Okay, so now that you've kind of anchored yourself a little bit in terms of like where everything is and what the flow kind of looks like, now I want to drop us back into our meditation. And again, here's my portal stone just for a little reference. That little doorway wants to invite you in right there. Do you see it right in the center, that little doorway? That's your fairy door to the fun place. You may not want to come back. The Crystal Kingdom is a beautiful place. Okay. So if you hardened up, if you became human again, let's liquefy you back down to crystal light. Just turning you into beautiful liquid light so that you can move easily and fluidly through Gaia's beautiful matrix. And I want you to find your entry point. And it might be easiest for you to enter through one of the chakra points. Like maybe you want to buzz up to Mount Shasta and enter the Crystal Kingdom through a portal there. Or maybe you're really feeling called to Peru right now. So you might give yourself permission to fly down and enter through a portal in Lake Titicaca. Or you can choose to enter through any other vortex point on the planet, Sedona, Arizona, for example, not a chakra point. Chakra point just meaning a major energetic vortex location, one of the 7 major centers on the planet. But Sedona is still a very powerful vortex point, even though it's not a chakra point, not one of the ones on your map today. So you can totally enter through Sedona. I enter all the time through Oahu when I'm there, and so anywhere you're feeling connected is a place that you're welcome to enter. And then once you make your way through your entry portal, feel yourself moving down, 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 through all of those layers, through the layers of the ancestral bones and through the layers of bedrock and water and time and stone and layers of granite and layers of feldspar and layers of schorl, right? All through the major mineral bodies across our planet, and through wave after wave after wave of silicon dioxide, because quartz is the most plentiful mineral on the planet. It's found on every continent, underneath every body of water. So there are constant crystal rivers for you to navigate down here, and they're so beautiful. They're just, I want you to imagine, and you'll know when you hit sort of a crystal wave, because it'll look like water as you're floating through these channels underneath the planet, underneath the layers of all that rock and soil and time. You'll hit a crystal wave, so you'll be sort of floating through in your liquid light state, and it'll look like water, but it's really, really clear quartz. And you can enter that because you're now just light as well. And so you can enter and sort of merge with that quartz and ride those waves that just flow. And when you're in those crystal rivers down here, it feels like your body just expands, like your light body expands, and because you have no edges and no borders, and so you can literally become the expanse of the quartz, which can run for miles. These subterranean quartz riverways are sometimes miles wide. And so allow yourself to expand out and to connect. Move your body, even like feel how you can become sort of part of that flow, not even just receiving from it, but fully embodying it. And what does it feel like to take some of that crystal energy into your body? Imagine allowing it to move into your system, right? Maybe it could strengthen your back. Maybe it could strengthen your digestive system. Maybe it could align the cells of your body to be in better health. Maybe it could move into pockets of discomfort or disease and sort of recalibrate, recode those places to bring you into better alignment, better health. Okay. Now, at each one of the chakra points, which we're going to visit right now, we're going to sort of move together a little bit, and then I'll give you some free time to sort of go and float on yourself, and I'll have some key questions for you to consider as you're in those places. But as we move to the major chakra energy places now, together, I want you to think about really focusing on that part of your body that's governed by that particular chakra. And since we have the freedom to just move, let's all move gently together toward Mount Shasta. Now we're underneath now, right? We're subterranean. And you could be miles down now into the center of the earth, however much permission you've given yourself to go. You can go as far down as you wish to go. But if you allow your crystal guides, there's so many crystal guides who are there navigating Gaia's matrix. So once you're down into her matrix and you feel it, call upon a crystal guide to come and walk with you now. It's as easy as closing your eyes and saying, I'm here now in Gaia's crystalline matrix. And Gaia, we thank you for welcoming us. And Gaia, if there is an available guide who could come to each person who's here visiting you to help us move along your crystal waterways, your crystal pathways. And the crystal keepers sometimes come with beautiful crystal luminaries, and so you might see that. Sometimes they come and they've got like a lit sort of candle torch, but it looks like a candle, but it's actually a quartz point. And so when they come with their luminaries, sometimes you can see a long line of them sort of walking through these ley lines underneath the earth. And so when your crystal guide comes to you, just take a moment to connect, give thanks for the guidance. You may not need to keep your guide throughout the journey. They may stay with you for a little while until they feel like you've got your way, and then sometimes they'll release you to another guide who sort of is more familiar with the area where you're traveling. Because remember, we're in a matrix now that underlies the entire planet. And so crystal guides, we are heading to Shasta. If you can guide us toward the root chakra first, this is where we're going to go to connect around our sense of safety, our sense of home, our sense of security. So guide us gently down that pathway. And I want you to notice the grounding energies that begin to swell as we head towards Shasta in this underground matrix. Gaia's womb is tight here, and so you can almost feel it's like hands around your waist, right? Sort of protecting you, holding you. Where you've been has been open and spacious, and where you're moving into now is it's a tighter portal. This is a portal when you need to feel safer, when you need to feel more secure, when you need to feel held and really loved and reassured, like a child needs to feel held and loved and reassured. Come visit Shasta down here, or above the earth. But for now, visit Shasta here. Winding under these trails that above us are mirrored by the beautiful mountain and beautiful range there, and all the land that's so sacred, resonating with that deep, slow vibration that reminds you, you are safe, you are held, you are never alone, you are surrounded by those who love you and remember you, those who support you and want to encourage you. All is well here, all is safe here, all is familiar here. This is a homecoming, this visit through this part of the crystalline matrix. And so as we arrive at Shasta here, I want you to take a moment Notice your root chakra in your own physical system. It sits right at the base of your spine. And I want you to gather here. We're going to be gathering energies at each of these points, but here what you're going to gather is safety. The feeling of total protection. I want you to gather that. Put it in your energetic knapsack, because that's going to be your takeaway from this energy point. This is where your shadow can trust that it's safe. It's safe to be integrated. It's safe to be acknowledged. It's safe to be seen. This is where all parts of you find home. This is where all parts of you are welcome. And if you can really anchor here, then your shadow can find what it needs in all the other places. And your light, too. We're not just here for your shadow. We're here for your light, which also needs to be reassured that you are safe, you are loved, you are well, you are welcome, you are known, you are remembered. Everything here at the root. So inhale there, exhale there. Like, take that wisdom within. Really, really internalize this message here at Shasta. You don't need anyone or anything outside of this moment to be truly safe. Because you are held by a family and a lineage that's much more powerful than anything you have above the ground. And you will know that for sure when you return here. Then you'll know it for sure, but you should know it now, because it'll make your life better. Inhale and exhale there, just truly receiving, appreciating how at home you feel, and knowing that you can come here at any time. Just liquefy in and down you go. And we give thanks to all of the guides who sit at the root chakra of the planet, Mount Shasta, all of the ancestor spirits, the Lemurian priests and high priestesses who continue to reside here and do their work from here. Thank you for reminding us what home is, that we can always return home, that home also seeks us. We don't just seek it. Amen, aho, and so it is. Just enjoying that. Enjoy. Especially if you have a root chakra imbalance, soak this on up. And most empaths do. I put myself in that bucket too. It's why I constantly am working with root chakra stones and trying to anchor in, because I spend so much time in my upper chakras that the lower chakras suffer neglect. Okay, and now it's hard to leave. I know. It's always hard. But we have good places to go. And so I want you to give thanks to the guardian spirits of Shasta, the earth's root chakra. We will remember you. We will honor you. We give thanks to you for rooting us home. And now I want you to turn, and I want you to let your liquid light just sort of effortlessly flow south now. We're going down across, down the state of California, across Mexico. And we are heading to Peru, to a sacred lake, Lake Titicaca, which represents the goddess. It represents the divine feminine. Of course, that's anchored in Glastonbury as well, but very much here. This is the southern hem anchoring of the goddess energy. The Glastonbury is the northern anchoring of the goddess energy. And so here we are, arriving in Lake Titicaca, and I want you to notice energetically how different it is here, right? This is older. This is more primal energy. This is more, Shasta is more spirit energy, upper world energy in a way, even though we're down in the center, like in Gaia's matrix. It's more of a ethereal energy. Here at Lake Titicaca, this is more ancestral energy, more anchored in transformation. There's a lot of bone energy in Lake Titicaca and in the sacral chakra. And so this is again, this is more primal. This is more feeling. This is passion energy. This is Kundalini that starts to rise when we're in Shasta, but really begins to make its way through our system here, down here in the south in Peru. And so we greet you here, guardian spirits of the sacral chakra of our planet. We thank you for the mother energy that sits here. Not just the physical mother, but the spirit mother. The madre, the plant teachers that are teaching us how to work with the feminine of the planet. The snake energy that teaches us about transformation and letting go of old patterns and old ways that don't fit us anymore, shedding those away. And so for our shadow, as we encounter the sacral chakra here, what we're looking at here is all of the shadow around sex and sensuality, sexuality, if that's part of what is activated for your shadow, creativity, procreativity, blocks to procreation, and of course anything surrounding gestation, pregnancy, problems in childbirth, child loss, C-sections, all of that energy is here. And issues related to sexual function also sit here. And so there's a lot that can get activated and stirred up here. And so as you work with this energy, and Imperial Topaz is all about acknowledging your power. It's your sacral power. It's the sovereignty of who you are as a sexual, sensual, creative, passionate human being who can create life. And if you're a woman who can carry life and deliver life, right? And there's a giving and a receiving here because there's the male sacral and the feminine sacral. The male gives, the feminine receives, right? So it's not only about how you receive pleasure, and it's also about how you give pleasure. Being an agent of pleasure and passion and seduction. And if all of those things or any of those things make you uncomfortable, that says you have work to do here. So this is probably a good place for you to sit for a moment. And so this is all energies around I create, I play, I tempt, I seduce. I desire. And so just sitting for a moment with all of those questions and letting those energies, again, at the chakra points, the energy goes down and in. So letting all of that run down and through you now. What work do you have to do with your light or your shadow around what you create and how you create it, what you birth and what gets birthed through you? And just letting these divine energies of this incredible place, if you've never been to Peru, I think all of us have to go at some point in our lives. I'm definitely feeling the call, I can tell you. And I think a lot of you are too. And a lot of the sacred tools as Sage Goddess come from Peru. All those shamanic wands and a lot of our Palo Santo essential oil, a lot of our crystals. There's even an oil in a recent blend called Moina that comes from the Amazon rainforest. And so there's more and more and more Peru present in my work, which to some extent passes along to you. And so giving thanks here for the I create, I desire. Your desires are placed within you so that you manifest what they require. That's how we end up with beauty in the world. People have individual desires that they then go manifest, which inspire other people to have desires, which they then manifest. And so that cycle of creation and sensuality perpetuates itself, both in the masculine and in the feminine. Woo. And then getting ready because we're going to travel now. We're in Peru. But we're going to extend that crescent moon down even further south to come up in Australia. And here we're arriving at the solar plexus of the planet. This is the power center of the earth. And so here there are questions around I will, right? More than I desire, I will. And the difference between desire is something you want, will is something you manifest. I become here at the solar plexus. I will this. I take my thought and I manifest it in form. So that's how we rise from the sacral to the solar plexus. And so allowing the beautiful energies of Australia, which are quite different from Peru, right? Again, here we have an even more sort of, to a certain extent, a deeper and earthier resonance even still. And you can feel the heat here in Australia, and you can feel the centering effect of the energy of that continent. And that's very much what this is. The solar plexus is part of your personal center. It's your core. So this goes to the core of who you are and what you're actually able to produce. Not what you want to produce, not what you need to produce, but what you actually produce. And so you can gauge the efficiency of your energy system in some ways by the power and the potency of your solar plexus, because this is your seat of manifestation. And so here, if you're not manifesting the way you want, this is a really good place to pick up that power, is down here in Australia at this chakra point. And so pull it in, activate. Your solar plexus is 2 finger widths above your belly button. Activate that space right up. Pull all that energy in to you. Let it go in and down and through your system, strengthening you, reminding you you're a very powerful person. More powerful than you know. And you're plugging in right now to an ancient grid of light energy that can activate dormant codes for your own potential. You can activate your DNA here. You can heal your ancestral line here. And it's instant, because this is a highway. You're in a frequency highway right now. Very potent one at that. And so spirit guides of this beautiful part of the world, this particular chakra point, we invite you to strengthen us all the way around, from our belly button all the way to the center of our back, strengthening us here, activating that solar plexus, allowing all of that energy to be received right at that central chakra. And we give thanks for that power. So needed, not just for all of us, but across our planet at this time. And now you're in for another big change. So you're going to ride that matrix, ride those lines, those ley lines, up to Glastonbury, the heart chakra of the planet. So we arrive now in England, right? This is the heart chakra. This is the center of love and compassion on the planet, which is why I think, as the legend goes, that this is where Jesus chose to bring the chalice well, to create the chalice well, to protect it. And so this is the core of Christ consciousness. This is the core of light, love, and compassion on our planet. And you can even feel it as you have your hand over this one. This is the I love. This is the I hold, I nurture chakra of the planet. If you do not feel loved, nurtured, and held, I want you to pause right here. Because this is where you're going to get it. And this is where you're going to get it in a functional way. The ability to really love your light and your shadow. You can't expect a human to give you what you're feeling right now from the matrix. It's not possible. They can't hold the frequency that you're feeling right now. You will live a long life hunting for this. But you can get it from your crystals. You can get it from source energy flowing through your crystals from this energy vortex. You can plug into it. And then what you can do is radiate it and become that light, become that love and compassion. Not just fill your own cup with it, which you will, but you can radiate that out to the rest of the planet. And so spirit guides of Glastonbury, the heart chakra of the world, we give thanks for the presence of the goddess here in the Northern Hemisphere, for divine energies of love, compassion. It's a Holy Mother energy here, Christ consciousness. The bright light that radiates through all of us is transferred through the energy of the Holy Spirit. We receive today love that can be inclusive of our light and our shadow, so that we are not one or the other, but both integrated. And we receive that healing here with so much gratitude. And we receive backward the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. We're just sort of integrating it now. Amen, aho, and so it is. And then down to your turquoise at the throat chakra of the planet, which is Giza and the Great Pyramid. In fact, all of the pyramids are subsumed under the throat chakra. And that's because this has always been thought to be the communication center of our planet. And to this day, I do believe that this is part of how they communicate with us. And at the time, I think we were actually trained to be able to communicate back with them being the star beings, the ascended masters. The pyramids are sound chambers. They're communication chambers. Each one aligned to a different frequency, a different chakra. The 7 chakras are actually all represented by this chakra, subsumed within the throat. And it makes sense, right? Energy, part of the potency of energy is the communication of energy. And so here, this is the I speak, right? This is the I speak. I honor my truth chakra. And so spirit guides of the throat chakra, here we activate our need for communication, to receive and send clearly our thoughts, our desires, our needs, our expectations. This is how we express our truth and our love in the world, our authenticity, which is another form of power here at the throat chakra. We release blockages that prevent us from being well understood, well received. We remove blockages and obstacles so that we can also receive and communicate well with others. Amen, aho, and so it is. And then moving up to the top of your map for the third eye. So we're moving just slightly north now through that beautiful matrix. And this is the center of intuition of the planet. This is the planet's own third eye, the planet's own seeing eye, right? And this is where your own psychic gifts get developed and honed and attuned, and you become better able to see and hear and sense divine wisdom. So this is the I know, I see, I channel, I receive chakra. Again, just letting that energy ride up, down, and through your central column, letting it bathe all of your chakras in that beautiful indigo light. And so spirit guides of this chakra, we want to open ourselves more powerfully to our own divine wisdom and intuition today through this chakra. We want to expand our capacity to see and know and understand. And we give thanks for our ability to enhance our clairsenses, clairvoyance, our ability to see, clairaudience, our ability to hear, clairsentience, our ability to sense and understand, clairalliance, our ability to smell. Just calling in that wisdom, giving thanks. Amen, aho, and so it is. And then last but not least is that 7th chakra. That is your crown chakra over Mount Kailash or Mount Kailash in Tibet. And so it's our last movement south, turning around, letting your liquid light follow that line down that grid. And this is the I connect chakra. This is I receive my creator here. I connect with my creator. I receive my creator. I commune with my creator. And so, spirit guides of the crown chakra, we are just opening wide to receive you here with so much gratitude and so much love and appreciation and sincere desire for that connection to flourish and to nourish and to center and to balance us, to reassure us and to align us with our faith, to remind us of what is true and sacred, what's holy in our lives. This beautiful, sacred, holy location is truly, I think that there is almost no place more powerful in the world than this location. And so what is holy is here. It's embodied here in this particular location and in this chakra. So all you have to do is, again, this is just another place there's nothing to do or be, just to connect and receive. And letting that, flood in and over your crown chakra. This is really good for good nourishment for your brain, for your central nervous system, releasing headaches and pressure and tension in your head. It's good crown chakra medicine for you today. Releasing any pressure behind the ears, at the base of the skull, at the center of your neck. Just releasing anything that's stored there. And we give thanks for a deeper connection today. Amen, aho, and so it is. And so now, it's powerful what you have plugged into today. And so now, what I'm going to do with my wand as a final step is I'm going to connect the dots and then connect you and connect me in. Are you ready? And we're going to activate this grid for our intention. So before I begin, I want you to focus on what is your intention for activating the grid today? Where in your life do you need this energy? And this is a big turbo boost. I want you to try and come up with one word. What do you want to turbocharge today with this energy? One part of your life, one place. One word if you can. You ready? So we begin at the root, at Shasta. We go to the sacral. I'm just connecting the tip of my wand to the crystal itself, to the solar plexus, to the heart, to the throat, to the third eye, to the crown, to me, to you, as above, so below. And so together we activate the Earth's crystalline grid today. We pull that energy up through the matrix to support our personal individual intentions. May they come to pass in perfect time and deep alignment. And also we send that energy out to support our entire planet today, to nourish every person, every creature, every place with this energy that we have raised today. And together we say, Amen, aho, and so it is. Amen, aho, and so it is. Okay. Whew. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we thank you, Gaia, for welcoming us in today, our love and our light. May the energy that we have raised here together be a source of healing and inspiration and abundance for all who are here, and then for all who need it as well. Amen, aho, and so it is. And so, Guardians of the North, thank you for allowing us entrance into your grand grid, your great matrix. Thank you, crystal guides and crystal keepers, for granting us safe passage, clear passage through your waves and your tunnels so that we could experience the power you have. We release you from the circle with gratitude. Guardians of the West, thank you for letting us turn into that liquid light and traverse Gaia's sacred waterways and crystal ways. So thankful for the connection today. We release you with gratitude from the circle. Guardians of the South, thank you for lighting our way with the element of fire, giving us the courage that we needed to move so gracefully and fluidly through Gaia's crystal grid. We release you with gratitude from the circle. And then Guardians of the Eastern Gateway, thank you for opening us up to a new level of power and capacity. Thank you for helping us hold that energy with grace. And thank you for this new beginning, this new strength, this new vitality that we're going to enjoy. We're grateful. We release you with such gratitude from the circle. Thank you to the crystals who guided us in and took good care of us. We release you from this sacred work today. And thank you for continuing to so bravely do the work that your soul requires at this time, which is deep integration work of your light and your shadow, and discovering new sources of power, pathways to integration, so that you can live a better life. You're doing it not just for you, but for me and for everyone else on the planet too. So I see you. Aho. I hope this was a really fun and interesting tour of a power source that you may not have worked with before, but it's at your disposal all the time. It's always there for you. Be well. Enjoy this charge. Know that you can re-enter at any time when it invites you back, pulling you completely out of that liquid light state back fully into your body. Make sure you're wiggling your fingers and toes. It's good to ground that energy. Put your bare feet on the floor, rubbing your hands together, letting that energy move out of you, side to side, turning your head, rolling your shoulders, right, backwards and forwards. Just lets you to get back in your body, especially when you do a meditation where you become liquid light. It's really important that you re-embody so you can drive your car and cook your dinner and all the other things. Aho, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your day or evening, whatever time it is where you are. I will look forward to seeing you soon for more of light and shadow. Take care.